All right. Welcome to another Boston Indicators video briefing. Because immigration has become such a hot political issue, I thought it'd be helpful to pull together data from some of our recent research on immigration to help provide just a foundation for some of those discussions. So first, let me start by showing a graph of the foreign-born population of Boston all the way back to 1960. And so what you see is a really steady increase over, a couple generations. There was a little decrease from 2020 to 2023, but the long-term trend is a really steady, more than doubling of the foreign-born population. Your sense of this story, though, I think changes if you pull the timeline back even further. So here we look at that same data, but all the way back to 1850. And you see, we're actually not back up to that high watermark of the late 19th century. What is different, though, is where in the world people are coming from. And so the next graph, I'm going to show the top 10 countries of origin for our region's foreign-born population, first in 1990, and compare that to 2022, the most recent data we've got. So in 2022, no European country made the top 10. You also just see how much higher all of these bars are. So immigration making up an increasing share of the region's population. Another interesting comparison to do is to look at the foreign-born population share in Greater Boston to the rest of the country. And you can see a real contrast here. The biggest, probably, if you look at the bottom, almost a quarter of all foreign-born residents of the United States are from Mexico. That's just 1% for Greater Boston. So far, the data I've shown uses foreign-born as the measure of immigrants, but that really captures a wide range of people who might be, recent arrivals in the last couple of years or people who've been here for decades. So the next graph looks more recently at new arrivals. And for most of the clusters from the sort of middle to left-hand side of the graph, they look at arrivals within the 10 years leading up to a decennial census. And then on the right-hand side, it's the last 4 years of arrivals from 2020 to 2023. And you can see in recent years, the top 5 countries of origin, Brazil, the DR, China, India, and Haiti. And it's really Brazil that's become by far the largest country of origin in recent years. Now, yet another way to look at this is to focus even more on those migrants who are coming here, largely fleeing some sort of hardship abroad and seeking support from the state or federal government for help in resettling. And so we've gotten data in the next 2 graphs from the state's Office for Refugees and Immigrants that show how much that's increased just in the last 4 years. So a little bit over 1,000 immigrants getting some sort of resettlement support from the state in 2021 up to more than 15,000 in 2024. And it's really these folks that are most at risk of not getting support under the coming presidential administration. The next graph looks at the same exact data, but breaks out by country of origin. And here you see another different story. For Greater Boston, the vast majority of folks getting this type of support are from Haiti, largely on temporary protected status. And that's a status that's under threat under the promises made by the incoming administration. So let me end really quickly by showing a few graphs that just highlight the contributions that immigrants have made to our region in recent years. First, I'm going to show a graph looking at net migration trends. And you see on the bottom, domestic migration is the effect of moves to and from Greater Boston to other parts of the country. And that's been negative for many years in a row, and actually acceleratingly so. But fortunately, that's been pretty evenly offset by international immigrants coming to the region. So if it weren't for immigrants coming here, we'd be a region that's pretty steadily losing population. The final 2 graphs I want to show relate to economic mobility. There's a really large, long-standing body of research that's looked at economic mobility across generations for immigrants in the United States. And it's striking how consistent the findings are going back, almost across all of the country's history. This first graph looks at wage increases for immigrants the longer they live in the United States. And you can see how much that line goes up over 5, 10, 15, 20 years living in the United States. And then this final graph is a similar measure, but it compares incomes of first-generation immigrants with second-generation immigrants. And you can see how much higher those second-generation immigrant incomes are. And you see that Massachusetts actually has the highest second-generation immigrant incomes in the entire country. All right, I'm going to leave it there. If you like this video, please consider sharing it with friends, and also check out our YouTube channel where we've got a bunch of other Boston Indicators video briefings, somewhat like this one. Thanks a lot.